AITA for refusing to invite my sister to my wedding after she deliberately sabotaged my engagement celebration. This is going to be a long one, so bear with me. I, 29F, have been engaged to my fiancé, Mark, 31M, for about 6 months now. We're planning a wedding for next year, and as you can imagine, the excitement is high on both sides of our families. But the main tension is coming from my sister, Lisa, 33F. Our relationship has always been complicated, to put it lightly. A bit of background. Lisa and I grew up in the same household, but we're always very different people. She was the golden child in the eyes of our parents. High achiever, charismatic, and always getting attention. I, on the other hand, was more introverted and academic. Over the years, I've noticed that Lisa resents me for things I never even thought were competitive, like getting a scholarship, getting a good job, or being in a stable relationship. There's a long history of passive-aggressive behavior, but I've tried to keep my distance and maintain peace. When Mark proposed, I was over the moon, and so were my parents. We planned an engagement party at our family home and invited close family and friends. I thought this would be a happy, stress-free event, but it was anything but. A week before the party, Lisa called me and said she wanted help with the preparations. I was a bit surprised because she's never shown interest in events like this before, but I agreed. I figured, why not let her be involved, so maybe it would help our relationship? Big mistake. Lisa started helping, but it quickly became clear she wanted control. She rearranged the guest list without asking me, inviting some of her friends who I didn't know or like, and disinvited some of my close friends. I confronted her, and she said she was just trying to make it more fun, and that I was being too uptight. The night of the party, things escalated. Lisa showed up late, looking stunning as always, but also clearly trying to be the center of attention. She made a few cutting remarks about my relationship with Mark in front of some guests. Small comments about how hopeful relationships like theirs don't last, or Mark seems too good for her. I hope she knows what she's doing. I brushed it off, but it was humiliating. Then, halfway through the party, the caterer brought out the cake. It was a beautiful 3-tier cake with "Congrats Lisa" and Mark written on it. I was stunned. I didn't even know Lisa was engaged or planning anything similar. Turns out, she had arranged with my parents behind my back to order a cake that made the event about her too. When I confronted my parents, they admitted Lisa had complained to them that I was stealing her spotlight. The guests were uncomfortable, and Mark was furious. Lisa didn't seem to care and continued making snide remarks throughout the evening. Later, she spilled red wine on my dress and didn't offer to help clean it or apologize. She just smirked and walked away. After the party, I tried to talk to Lisa privately. I told her that her behavior was unacceptable and hurtful. She denied everything and accused me of being jealous and controlling. My parents are now on her side, saying I should learn to share the spotlight, and family is family. I've decided that I don't want Lisa anywhere near the wedding. I've told my parents and Mark, and they support my decision. They understand that this isn't just about a party, but about respect and boundaries. My parents are upset and have said I'm being unfair and alienating my sister. Lisa has been sending me passive-aggressive texts and even showed up at my workplace demanding a meeting. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to invite my sister to my wedding after everything she did? I feel like she crossed a major line, and that this is about protecting my happiness and future marriage. But my family thinks I'm overreacting and being petty. What do you think? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to let my sister's boyfriend stay at my house after he caused a huge scene and embarrassed my entire family. This has been a huge mess, and I honestly don't know if I'm in the wrong or if I'm justified in how I handled things. I'm 32F, and I live with my husband, 34M, and our 2 kids, ages 5 and 3, in a mid-sized city. I work full-time as a project manager, and my husband runs his own small business from home. We're pretty private people, but enjoy hosting family occasionally. My younger sister, 28F, has been dating her boyfriend, Mike, for about a year now. Mike is 30M, and when they first started dating, I was cautious but tried to keep an open mind. He seemed nice enough in the beginning, friendly, polite, and respectful. My sister was happy, and that's what mattered most. About 6 months ago, my sister asked if Mike could stay over at our place for a weekend because they were in town visiting from out of state, and their hotel was overbooked. We said yes since it was only for one night, and it didn't seem like a big deal. That weekend, things were fine overall, but Mike was a little more loud and boisterous than we were used to. It was a one-time thing, so we let it slide. Fast forward a couple months, and my sister and Mike asked again if he could crash at our place while they did some errands in town over a weekend. We agreed again, thinking it was just a quick stay. This time, Mike started showing some behavior that made me uncomfortable. He drank a lot, got loud late at night, and was generally inconsiderate, leaving messes around and waking up the kids with his noise. I told my husband I was concerned, but we figured it wouldn't happen often. Then last weekend happened, and this is where things exploded. My sister and Mike came over Friday evening. Mike had been drinking on the way, and by the time he got to our place, he was already tipsy. We tried to keep things low-key, but Mike was loud and kept making inappropriate jokes that made everyone uncomfortable, including our kids. I asked him politely to tone it down a few times, but he ignored me. Later that night, my husband told Mike to keep the noise down because the kids were sleeping. Mike snapped and started arguing with him. The argument escalated quickly. Mike accused my husband of being controlling and said my husband didn't like him because he wasn't from a wealthy background or the right crowd. The whole family was there by this point, and everyone was stunned by Mike's outburst. I told Mike he needed to leave if he couldn't behave, but he refused. My sister tried to calm him down, but he kept getting more aggressive and disrespectful. At one point, he pushed a chair and shouted at us all. Our kids were scared, and my youngest started crying. My husband called the police because we felt unsafe. The officers came, calmed things down, and told Mike he needed to leave immediately. The next morning, my sister called me furious, blaming me for humiliating her and Mike by calling the cops on him. She said I overreacted and was unfair to Mike. I told her his behavior was unacceptable, and I can't allow someone who disrespects my family and scares my kids to stay under my roof. Since then, my sister has been cold toward me, and Mike has tried to contact me, apologizing and asking for another chance. My husband supports my decision not to let Mike stay at our house again, but my sister says I'm being unreasonable and causing a rift in the family. I'm torn because I love my sister, but I don't want to compromise my family's safety and peace of mind. I've also heard from a few family members that Mike has a history of similar behavior when he drinks, but I don't want to be the bad guy who pushes my sister away. So, AITA for refusing to let my sister's boyfriend stay at our house after his outburst and for calling the police? Should I have handled things differently? Or was I right to put my family's safety first? AITA for refusing to pay for my sister's wedding after she demanded I contribute way more than I'm comfortable with? So, this is a long one, and it's honestly been eating at me for a while. I, 29F, have a younger sister, Emily, 26F. We've always had a complicated relationship, some good times, but a lot of tension too. Our family isn't huge. It's just the two of us and our parents. Growing up, our parents were pretty fair in dividing their attention and resources, but Emily and I are very different people. I'm more introverted, career-focused, and financially responsible. Emily is more outgoing, loves social gatherings, and tends to spend impulsively. Recently, Emily got engaged to her boyfriend, Mark, whom she's been dating for about 3 years. He's a great guy, and I like him well enough. They decided to get married next summer and immediately started planning what I would consider a fairly extravagant wedding. We're talking about a venue that costs tens of thousands, a full band, fireworks, a designer dress, a 4-course meal, and all sorts of extras. When the wedding planning started, Emily casually mentioned that she wanted my financial help because, as she put it, this is a huge event for our family, and I want you to be fully involved. I was a little surprised because I never expected to be asked to pay much, but I'm generally supportive and told her I'd help with the RSVP list and maybe a small gift. Then came the actual ask. Emily sent me a detailed budget breakdown, and she wanted me to pay $8,000 toward the wedding. $8,000. To put that in perspective, I make a decent salary, but I have student loans, rent, and other living expenses. $8,000 would be nearly half of my savings. I was stunned and told her that amount was way out of my league. She responded saying, "Well, Mark's parents are paying a lot too, and I think it's only fair you pitch in your share." I told her that Mark's parents had agreed to cover the venue and food, which is quite a bit, but that I wasn't in a position to give that much money. I also said I was happy to help in other ways, like organizing the guest list, helping with decorations, or even just handling smaller expenses if she needed. Emily was not happy with this. She told me that I was not being a supportive sister, and that if I didn't pay up, she would have to cut down on things that are important or make the wedding less perfect. She also said that I wasn't acting like family if I wasn't willing to invest financially. I got frustrated because I felt like I was being guilted into paying a huge sum for something that is ultimately their event. I've never asked Emily for anything, and I feel like the pressure is unfair. I offered a smaller amount, about $1,000, which I thought was generous given my budget constraints. She basically told me that was insulting and not even close to enough. Our parents tried to mediate and suggested that maybe I could contribute a bit more, but they didn't want to force me. Still, Emily has since stopped talking to me except for wedding-related matters, and it feels like I'm being punished. I don't want to ruin her big day, but I also don't want to be taken advantage of or financially stretched so thin I end up in debt. I've offered other forms of help, like planning the music playlist, coordinating with vendors, and helping with DIY decorations, but Emily seems to only care about money. The thing is, I'm not against supporting family or celebrating their milestones, but this feels more like a demand than a request. My other friends who have gotten married haven't asked for anywhere near this kind of money from their siblings. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay $8,000 for my sister's wedding? Should I just suck it up and pay to keep the peace and support her? Or am I justified in setting a boundary here?